Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome in to another edition of The Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, X, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 30 minutes or so, and we are talking National Basketball Association play-in tournament. We got to talk Hall of Fame goaltending in the National Hockey League, the news of a great goaltender's 2-decade run in the NHL coming to an end last night. We will break down Jonathan Quick, UCLA's historic night in the WNBA draft last night, and what really grinds my gears. I had a freshman say something to me yesterday, and I thought to myself, oh my God, would I have ever said that to my college baseball coach? And I have to share it with the people. You want to share your thoughts with me? You can. YouTube.com/the Romanellas. That's YouTube.com/the Romanellas. The QR code or you scan top right corner. Scan the QR in the top right corner, and you'll get directed to YouTube.com/the Romanellas. You'll hit that subscribe button and you'll support the show. We appreciate you. Twitter, X, and Instagram, The Rome Show 1. That's The Rome Show, then the number 1. And even if you watch on Twitter, X, or you watch on Instagram, just go to youtube.com and hit that subscribe button as well. One thing I've learned about subscribing to things on YouTube, it's not in your face. You can still go on YouTube and look and do your thing, and you're not overly taken by that person's content. So hit that subscribe button. The Romanellas on YouTube. NBA play-in tournament tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we have an exciting 2 months. That's how long it takes. 2 months of the National Basketball Association postseason. Okay, starting with the play-in tournament. Now, there are 4 play-in tournament games to start the play-in. Okay, there's a 7-8 game on both sides, and there's a 9-10 game on both sides. Okay, so you are looking far side left and far side right on the playoff bracket on your screen right now. So tonight you're going to get the 7-8 seed in the East. That would be the 9-10 seed in the East. That'd be the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat, and the 7-8 seeds in the West, the Phoenix Suns and the Portland Trailblazers. Tomorrow, you'll get 7-8 in the East. That's the 76ers and the Magic. And you'll get 9-10 in the West, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Golden State Warriors. Those first 4 games determine 2 seeds, okay? So the winner of the 7-8 game is the automatic 7th seed in the tournament for the playoffs. Okay, so you win game 1 of 7 and 8 seed game, you become the 7 seed. If you lose that game, you still have a second opportunity to make the playoffs. However, you must beat the winner of the 9 versus 10 game. So 9-10 plays for a second opportunity to play for the 8 seed. 7 and 8 play for the chance for a one-off to be the 7 seed, or if that doesn't go their way, they have the second opportunity to be the 8 seed. We mentioned 1 through 6 yesterday, so we won't break that down because today we are getting you prepared to spend some So here's what we got. Let's break down the games first. We will start 9-10 on the East. The Charlotte Hornets versus the Miami Heat. Here's what we got. The Hornets are 44-38 coming into this contest. The Heat are 43-39. On the Vegas books, the Hornets are favored by 5.5 in this contest. And the line in terms of points to be scored is 228.5. Now, both teams come into this game averaging a good amount of points offensively. So I tell you all that to say this. There are certain banana lines in the National Basketball Association that you can go after and say, hey, this is a line I believe can hit at almost like an 80-85% clip. And one of those is points. Now, play in, playoff, postseason, any form of the word will change the way players operate, okay? So if a guy's averaging 25 during the regular season, I could see why you'd feel a little uncomfortable taking him to score 30 in the play-in game, okay? Because as easily as that guy could go off for the extra 5 to 10 points in the play-in game is as easily as the pressure could break him, and he only scores 20 to 15. So for me, in the National Basketball Association, I look at a guy's average, okay? If a guy's averaging 25, that guy over 82 games is averaging 25, then I'm going to go find an alternate line at 5 points under, and I'm going to hammer that line. Right? So let's say Luka Doncic averages like 28.2. I don't even know if that's true. That could be a pretty good guess when all's said and done. I'm going to pull it up right now. But he averages 33.5. Okay, so Luka averages 33.5. So I'm going to take Luka over 25 points. Now, you might get it at minus 400, minus 6. I have no idea. And then in that scenario, I might think about a parfait. All right, I'm a vanilla parfait guy. I like the strawberries in there. I would think about another player in that same scenario. So I'll just take SGA because he's the next highest scorer in the league right now at 31.1. Well, I would take SGA over 25, and I'd take Luka over 25. I'd either combine those or take them both individually. Small wins, but small wins over time. Then when you feel like you have the opportunity to say, hey, this guy's going to score over his average, then you go take them at over the 30 or over the 35, and you start to change the odds a little bit deeper in your favor. So for me, when I see two teams that combined average 236 points, and the line is set 8 points under that or 7.5 points under that, I say to myself, well, that has to be the playoff atmosphere. Okay. That has to be Vegas accounting for the pressure that is in a playoff game. But also, when you look at this matchup, the Charlotte Hornets have a clear advantage on the defensive side. They hold their opponents to 111.2 points per game. That's good for 7th in the league, ladies and gentlemen. And when we talk about basketball at any level, and you can start to bring up how good a team's defense is, to me, that's an advantage when you get to the postseason. So the Hornets, they only give up 111 a game, whereas when you look at the Heat, a downfall for this team, they're bottom 10 in the league in opponents' points per game. They give up nearly 118.5 a game. And there is your difference maker right there, okay? There's your 7.5 right there. Vegas believes, from my knowledge of this, that the Hornets are 7.5 points better defensively than the Heat. So the line, from an over-under standpoint, if the Hornets do execute that, then it will be a significantly lower scoring game than the 120 that the Heat average on a night-in, night-out basis in the regular season. Both teams can shoot it from the field 46 and 47% respectively. Both teams can shoot it from three. Hornets are number 3 in the league, 37.8% three-point range, and the Heat are 11th in the league at 36.1%. This is a contest that is really tilted only on the side of the Hornets, in my opinion, because of the defense. Finally, on the Heat side, when it comes to that defense from the Hornets, they're trying to slow down one of 3 players that averages 20 or more on this Miami Heat roster. Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo in order: 21.5, 20.5, and 20.1 points per game. Now, Bam is averaging a double-double this year, 10.5 rebounds a game as well. You got to cut one of the heads of the 3-headed snake off. Okay, you want to let Tyler Hero go for 35, have a blast. You want to let Norman Powell go for 35, have a blast. You can hold Bam to 15, hold Bam to 10. You believe you can stop the rest of their roster on the road, right? If you hold 2 of their top 3 players to 65 or 70 combined points, and then you hold one of those other top players plus the rest of their team to a combined 30 to 35, you have cut one of the heads off the 3-headed snake, and I believe that really takes the Miami Heat out of sync. Con Canupo and LaMelo Ball are the 2-headed snake monster for the Hornets. LaMelo, more long-range shooting and ball handling. Canupo, more defense and long-range shooting, breaking the rookie record for 3-pointers this year. Give me the Hornets at the -5.5, but actually I would like to take the under in this game. I'm going to err on the side of 228.5 and under. I do always believe that the postseason, the playoffs, whatever terminology you want to use, the play-in, always adds that pressure, and defense and scoring, right, always look different, okay? There are always going to be outliers, unbelievable games, high scoring, margins, all that other stuff. But for the most part, it tends to be the other way when you get into the most important games. It tends to go the other way when you get into the postseason, and I'm going to take that in this game. And I do believe in the Hornets, and I believe in their defense. The Hornets have been playing some of the best basketball the last 50 games of the season, if not longer. But I'll give them the last 50, okay, in the NBA. Okay, they're exciting. They play fast. And when you have a younger team that plays well defensively, it only bodes well for me long term. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. The most impressive part of the Oklahoma City Thunder is how well they play defensively. That is the most impressive part of their game. And when you look at teams on the hardwood and you say, are they good enough to make a run, whether that be NCAA or college or other, you have to look at how good they are defensively. If you're Swiss cheese, it's not going to happen for your ball club. Just like if you're about to go into the National Hockey League playoffs. By the way, Rocky Romanella is actually going to come back tomorrow and talk to us about the NHL, because their playoff seeding is pretty much all finalized. You have a Swiss cheese guy in net, your team ain't going anywhere in the postseason. Or you're the Edmonton Oilers, where your offense can only get you so far, but it's not good enough to win a championship. Give me the Hornets at the -5.5, and give me the under at 28.5. On the other side, it's the Western Conference Suns versus Trailblazers. Now, you look at this game, and it actually feels pretty similar. The only difference is both of these teams, I think, are almost identical. There's really no, at least in my opinion, advantage for either side. The Suns come in 45-37. The Trailblazers 42-40. Phoenix is favored in this game by 4.5. And the over-under in terms of points total, 219.5. Phoenix, 9.5 steals a game. It's about 1.2 more steals per game average than the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers have the most turnovers in the league at nearly 15 per game. That is And again, we're talking defense here, a huge advantage in terms of swinging the way of the Phoenix Suns. They are athletic and they are great with their hands. And that is the only way. One, that's a huge aspect of being an elite defensive basketball team, but you just get your hands in those passing lanes. And I would argue, if you look at how many deflected passes, as many stolen passes, or how many balls deflected or kicked that stay with the offense, but get the offense out of rhythm, the Phoenix Suns are up there. I mean, they're 6th in the league in opponents' points per game as well at 111.1 and 3rd in turnovers, 15. Opponents' turnovers at averaging 15.5. D-Book, he's averaging 26.1. That's who the Trailblazers are looking to slow down, make everybody else beat you on the Phoenix Suns. Whereas I think for Portland, it's a we gonna beat you by committee scenario. And everybody on the roster has the ability to score 25, but they'll also score 0 for the basis of the team, for the team to get the W. Those are really difficult teams to play when you're heading into the postseason. And plus, you have a guy in Denny Avdija who's averaging 24 a game. Okay, so they are team basketball. They're like the Detroit Pistons of the West, though they haven't arrived as much as the Pistons have arrived. And obviously the Pistons have Cade, whereas I don't know if there's truly a superstar on this Portland Trailblazers team. But does that matter? Because I think we're in an era of basketball right now where the team is winning over the superstars. I truly believe that. Where you have way more team-oriented basketball than you do, we have these 2 or 3 stars, we got to go. Partly why I didn't feel that great about the Miami Heat, because they still feel like a old school kind of version of the Big Three-esque era. Whereas the Portland Trailblazers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, though SGA's an MVP, I get it, but that's a team basketball team. The San Antonio Spurs, same thing. Victor Wembanyama, superstar, but they play team basketball. Okay? I could go on and on. I'm not going to. That I always err on the side of. So I'm actually going to take an upset here. I'm going to take the Portland Trailblazers at the +4.5. Okay. And I'm going to take the under on the 219. I think both of these teams are not going to score very well. And the Phoenix Suns, in my opinion, though a different team now that Kevin Durant's a Houston Rocket, they've never shown up for me in the postseason, ever. Including a 2-0 series lead with Chris Paul as their point guard, and then they lost 4 straight to the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's never been the same since. I don't have any confidence in Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion. Sorry, not sorry. It's mine. And I'm going with the Portland Trailblazers at the +4.5 and give me the under. Okay? That is my prediction for day 1 of the NBA play-in tournament. If you haven't been watching National Basketball Association games this year, you need you to flip the TV on because it's actually very enjoyable. It's not your 1999 to 2024 NBA. It's starting to have a little bit of the feel of everything again. We got some big men back in the game, but those big men play the game differently. They can go down low. They can do some spin moves. They can hit from 15. But also everyone can shoot the 3. The game's faster now. But in this moment of the year, you get the full package. You get the defense. You get the full court presses. You get everything you want out of the game of basketball. You get right now. And the NBA is as parity driven as it's ever been. You might look at certain teams like the Thunder and the Spurs and say, wow, they're head and shoulders above everybody else. But that's not fully true. This is one of those years where anyone and everyone can beat anyone and everyone, and it's going to be exciting. And it gets started this week, the real playoffs with the play-in tonight. Hey, are you playing golf this weekend? If you are, you need to head to figtreegolf.com and get yourself right for wherever you're playing. Figtreegolf.com is the sponsor of the Rome Show. And right now, they're giving you a deal, ladies and gentlemen. 15% off at checkout if you head to figtreegolf.com and use promo code Andrew Romanella. Figtreegolf.com, your #1 destination to get you ready for the 2026 golf season. FigTreeGolf.com. Go make your best Rory impression. 15% off. Promo code Andrew Romanella. Hey, we'll be back after this.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Tighten the Lug Nuts, one of the best leadership books available.
All right, welcome back in. Couldn't get the BRB sticker off the screen. I'm like, dude, I'm back. I'm here. Whatever, we figure it out. Andrew Romanella, The Rome Show. 742, state of New Jersey. Ooh, April 14th is the date. After this, got to get the Cyclones ready for a ball game. 3:30, first pitch at the home field against the school that I went to for my first 2 years of college. So that's pretty cool. That's always one of my favorite things, to see the school or schools I played for, especially getting a chance to play against them. You know, I transferred in my college career, but I didn't transfer and dislike necessarily the school that I left. I did not like losing baseball games. That's for damn sure. We were 13-20 my freshman year and 7-27 my sophomore year. But I also did not necessarily like the version of the communications major. And I don't know, just don't know if being in the city fit me. I loved it, but at the time, from the standpoint of what I wanted from a baseball standpoint. So I left, but I loved both schools that I went to. And I enjoyed both schools that I went to. That's for damn sure. So I'm excited. Excited to play a school I played today. That's always the fun part of this job. By the way, youtube.com/the Romanellas. Twitter X, The Rome Show 1. Facebook.com/the Rome Show. Oh, yeah. And Instagram, The Rome Show 1 as well. Rome Show podcast, favorite your podcast as well. If you want to hear this show or other shows that we have done, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever the hell you listen. You know what really grinds my gears, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'm about to tell you. Let me just hit the sounder. All right. What really grinds my gears is me having to sound like get off my lawn guy. I got to be honest with you. I hate it. Okay. And maybe this is a rite of passage as you get older in life, but I despise the feeling of having to sound like get off my lawn guy. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a quick story. Yesterday, practice ends, and I have a freshman come up to me. And in so few words, he says, "Coach, I got in trouble in class for talking. And now my professor's asking me to do this extra assignment because I was talking in class." I said, "Okay." And he then goes, "Any way you can get me out of this?" I said, "What did you just say?" He says, like, "Can you talk to Jules and she maybe can get me out of this?" I looked at him, and again, not wanting to sound like get off my lawn guy, but damn, was that the perfect moment to say, "My man, if I ever in 1,000 bajillion years at any point in time in my lifetime, middle school, high school, college, my master's, if I ever asked one of my coaches or one of my bosses or even my mom to get me out of something that I put myself in because of my immature decisions, I'm going to refrain from saying I would have gotten smacked, because I don't think I would have gotten smacked, but I would have gotten proverbially smacked by any of those people, especially with their words. I could not believe it. So what grinds my gears is having to sound like get off my lawn guy all the time, because we are in a time period with the youth right now where it's like certain qualities are just lost. Like the amount of times I have to talk to players about like the word please or thank you is a wild proposition. Handshakes, eye contact, I could go on. But it's not necessarily about that as much as I hear myself sounding like get off my lawn guy. Like, oh, back in my day, you could never do that. Huh, back in my day, if I complained about that, and I'm like, oh my God, is this like a rite of passage? Or is this the only way I can talk about some of the things I have to deal with that blow my mind? Blow my mind. Never at 18 years old would I have ever walked up to my college baseball coach and asked him to get me out of something that I had to do because of me acting up in class. I'm not going to say being in trouble, but being in trouble in class. Never. I would have done anything I could to not have my coach know. Anything to not have that professor reach out. It's a different world. And I realized yesterday, I do not like sounding like get off my lawn guy. So I'm trying my hardest to not always tell the story of back in my day, but it is super, super difficult. You know what else is difficult? Playing goalie in the National Hockey League for 2 decades, something that Jonathan Quick has done. And yesterday against the Florida Panthers, his career came to an end as he is deciding at 40 years old to retire from the National Hockey League. And it poses a question, at least from me. And I'm going to pose this question and give you my side of the argument today. And then Rocky Romanella will be posed with this question tomorrow on Hockey with Rocky. And he will give us his feelings on this question. The question is simple. Is Jonathan Quick a Hall of Fame goaltender? Well, I'd like you to show you something here, and then I'd like to give you some statistics on Jonathan Quick comparative to the goalies you have on your screen here, which are the top 15 NHL Hall of Fame goalies. So these men are already in the National Hockey League Hall of Fame in Toronto, Canada. Jonathan Quick is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, 2012 and 2014. He was the starting goalie for the Los Angeles Kings. In 2023, he was traded to the Las Vegas Golden Knights for 10 games, maybe a little bit more. End of the day, as the backup goalie, he played in 10 games, won a Stanley Cup. So that was 3. But in 2012, he also won the Conn Smythe and the playoff MVP on that Stanley Cup run. During his career, he played in 829 regular season games and 92 postseason games for a total of 921 games played. Jonathan Quick had 410 regular season wins. If you look up on your stat sheet here, according to the goalies already in the Hall of Fame, that would put Jonathan Quick as 8th on the list of goalies in the National Hockey League Hall of Fame. He had 65 shutouts, a 2.51 goals against average, and a .910 save percentage. Jonathan Quick has a better goals against average, if you look up on your screen here, than Roberto Luongo and Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh, 2.54. Roberto Luongo, 2.52. Jonathan Quick, 2.51. Save percentage, exactly the same as Patrick Waugh, often revered as one of the Mount Rushmores of goaltending. I believe Jonathan Quick's a Hall of Famer. I really do. And I might be missing some categories here. I might be missing some qualifications. My brother can give me more. As I look deeper into the list, He has more shutouts than a bunch of these guys at 65. Some of them are 49. The goaltending statistics have varied over the years. I think save percentage came into play in the 60s and goals against average maybe in like the 80s or when some things have changed along the way. But when you look at the pantheon of goaltenders in the Hall of Fame and you look at the career that Jonathan Quick has had, it begs the question, is Jonathan Quick a Hall of Fame goaltender? I sit here today and I believe he is. And I think my eyes have told me that because he was one of the top 3 to 4 goaltenders in the league for a decade straight, while the Kings were one of the best teams in the league for a decade straight. And on top of that, the statistics compared to players already in the Hall of Fame play. They match up. They're just as good. If you put Jonathan Quick in the Hall of Fame, I don't think one person would bat an eyelash at that decision. Congratulations on a fantastic career for Jonathan Quick. We will talk to Rocky on Hockey with Rocky tomorrow about Jonathan Quick retiring and some of the teams in the postseason, including the Sabres for the first time in 15 years. And the Philadelphia Flyers clinched last night for the first time in 6 years. So a lot to discuss as we get ready for the National Hockey League playoffs. Last thing I want to tell the people, and it's really more or less just a really cool story. Shout out to the UCLA women's basketball program, who not only slaughtered South Carolina in their school's first women's basketball national championship in history about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, but last night became the first school ever to have 5 players drafted in the first round of the WNBA draft, surpassing the UConn Huskies last year, I believe. Maybe? I don't know. Or a few years ago with 5. I think it was in like the first 12 picks of the draft or 10 picks of the draft or something like that. And there were 3 back to back to back. Really cool. Shout out to UCLA women's basketball. That's a sick way to end a historic season for those seniors. I also think it's a sick way to end the Rome show on a Tuesday. Hope you guys had a blast. I know I did. We're going to be back tomorrow, 7:10, 7:15 a.m. Like I said, we'll be joined by Rocky Romanella to break down the Stanley Cup playoffs and so much more. You have an electric day. I am Andrew Romanella. Hit subscribe on the YouTube or the Twitter X or the Instagram for me, please, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for listening.